It has been more than 15 years since that emergency landing on the Hudson River that made headlines all around the world. This became known as the miracle on the Hudson, when a bird strike forced a U.S. Airways flight to land right in the middle of the river in New York City. Incredibly, all 155 people survived. Our Dustin Grove was invited to sit down with that famous pilot who landed the airplane that day. They talked about the incident that made him a hero, his Indiana connection, and how safe he thinks it is to fly today.
It was the emergency landing that became the talk of the world and landed Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger a new title.
Gotta give it to the pilot, man.
Hero.
He made a hell of a landing.
How often do you think about that day?
I get frequent reminders. If I have to be the public face of an event, fortunately it was one that was good.
After a flock of birds flew into U.S. Airways Flight 1549 shortly after takeoff, Sullenberger knew he'd have to land, but he wouldn't make it back to the airport. Their only chance at survival?
The river clearly was my only viable option.
New York City's Hudson River.
The pilot said, "You guys got to brace for a hard impact." And that's when everyone started saying prayers.
Did you know when you were landing that plane that it was going to be okay?
I never thought I was going to die that day. I was confident that I could find that way to solve the problems that we needed to solve. I don't think Jeff Skiles, our first officer, thought so either, but I never asked him that question. But we're probably two of the few people who did not think they were going to die that day, quite frankly.
I'll never get over how beautiful it is up here.
The so-called Miracle on the Hudson would eventually become a blockbuster movie, Tom Hanks playing the role of Sully. 15 years after the day that changed his life, Sullenberger is still traveling the country, recounting the lessons learned, recently with a stop at his alma mater, Purdue University, where he packed the auditorium with captivated students, faculty, and alumni. Sullenberger is also a sought-after safety expert. At a time when the airline industry has been criticized for customer service, multiple mishaps in the air and on the runway, and safety concerns about Boeing.
Are you concerned about the state of aviation safety right now?
First of all, you have to realize that safety is not a destination. It is instead a never-ending journey. We're almost at the point now where we're the victims of our own success. It seems like it's so ultra-safe, and it is, that we have sometimes relax and not be as vigilant as we really need to be.
Even after all these years, Sully still has the eyes and ears of a nation. Perhaps, he says, it's because in a world where doom and gloom so often make headlines.
And then along came this group of strangers on this airplane and the surrounding responders who made it their mission in life that day to save every life.
His story still inspires.
Because it's a potential that each of us has, to rise to the occasion, to save a life, to do the right thing.
Dustin Grove, 13 News.
And you can watch Dustin's longer conversation with Sully about that day in 2009, his thoughts about airline safety, and how he's dealt with being thrust into the spotlight. It's on our digital streaming app, WTHR+.